To most people, whirlpools are a terrifying force of nature. To Jacob, they're an irresistible playground. He has made a career out of getting dangerously close to disaster, always certain he can escape in time. But he doesn't realize that this time, he's recording his own final moments. Why would someone willingly gamble their life again and again for the perfect shot? Shortly before this footage was taken, Jacob Cockle was 28 and at the peak of his life. Always a free spirit, he combined extreme stunts with a fascination for nature, becoming a world-renowned action photographer. Yet the thrill-seeker's life wasn't always destined for fame and fortune. As a teenager, his worldview was shattered. Jacob built an obsession he couldn't control, and it had nothing to do with the sea. Penzance is a port town in Cornwall, famous for its golden sandy beaches and surfing community. It was here that Jacob grew up and immediately discovered water as his natural element. He learned to swim as he took his first steps and grew up exploring hidden coves on the seashore. Always by his side was his older sister Grace. She was a model student, decades ahead of her age and maturity. She achieved whatever she wanted and was a champion in several sports at school. Jacob, on the other hand, was diagnosed with dyslexia and rather skipped school to go surfing with friends. Joined by people who shared his interests, he took a liking to extreme sports and started filming stunts with his friends. From skating to surfing, they took on more risks, Jacob always leading which crazy idea they'd try next. He remained as close as ever to Grace as they approached adulthood, when one day he received a phone call that changed everything. Grace was diagnosed with a brain tumor, facing a fight for her life. The first round of treatment was successful, but 6 months later, her cancer returned. This time it was terminal. Sadly, Grace died the following year. At just 17 years old, it was a devastating blow for Jacob that set his life on a new path. According to his friends, he felt as if his sister's energy transferred into him, and making the most of every moment became his only mission. Shortly after Grace's funeral, Jacob decided he was going to be a world-famous photographer, solidifying the goal with a signed promise on his bedroom wall. "I am becoming a world-famous photographer and filmer. I will permit nothing to intervene with my doing so." Over the next years, he spent thousands of hours perfecting his craft. And although he was dedicated to photography, he was doubly enticed to take risks. From this point onward, his stunts became increasingly dangerous.
First guy to do it.
Camera in hand, he began surfing over rocks or toward cliffs, perfectly capturing the feeling of riding cresting waves. He quickly built a following among Cornwall's surfing community, but neighbors warned it was only a matter of time before something awful happened. As Cornwall's waterman was making a name for himself, Jacob gained national attention with a startling picture, taken just before a massive wave hit him. He soon began winning awards for his work and regularly contributed cover shots for surf magazines. While he traveled across the globe documenting the expanse of the ocean, one phenomenon became his obsession: whirlpools. When water is forced through tight spaces or collides with other currents, it creates a spinning vortex that can pull in anything within reach. Some whirlpools are small and relatively harmless, while others are powerful enough to suck in boats and large debris. The rotating water creates a strong suction effect that traps anything caught within and is extremely difficult to escape. Even strong swimmers can become tired and disoriented quickly because of how fast and forcefully the water moves. But for Jacob, it was a fascination that he could not shake. So he took any opportunity to interact with a vortex, often calling out to friends in excitement the larger one became. Conventional sense would tell anyone to stay away from them for the obvious consequences of being sucked down into a dark and watery grave. Naturally, Jacob would go right into the swirling water, and even dove below the water's surface where currents were much stronger. He meticulously documented his adventures on his YouTube channel, Whirlpool Hitman, where he'd earned a modest income. And this made him even more attracted to taking risks whenever a whirlpool appeared, creating clickbait titles and experimenting with various props. He even added a disclaimer: "I learned the hard way. Please do not attempt this at home. Never go swimming in a natural whirlpool alone." But the churning waters he most commonly interacted with were back in Cornwall, specifically in the port of Hale, not far from where he grew up. The whirlpool only appeared a few times a year during the spring tide. It was a byproduct of an underground tunnel built to drain sand from the harbor. As water pushed through the 40-foot culverts into the storage pool, a vortex formed in the main harbor where the water descended. It was as if someone had built a personal playground on Jacob's doorstep, which he used to get millions of views online. On May 28, 2013, Jacob returned to Hale for an emotional moment. His grandmother had passed away, which meant Grace's ashes that the family had held onto were set to be scattered the next day. And it just so happened the whirlpool in Hale Harbor reappeared during the spring tide. Jacob raced to film it, fully dressed in a wetsuit and camera in hand. His longtime friend David Rain agrees to record him swimming around the whirlpool. Meanwhile, Jacob races to the harbor before the vortex disappears. After capturing some amazing underwater footage, the photographer emerges from the water and puts on an Archie McPhee horse mask. He then films himself being carried in the powerful current, laughing like a child on a bicycle for the first time. It's at this point David arrives. The sun is hanging low in the sky, and Jacob has a sense of urgency about him.
So you just press that halfway down to focus.
He quickly tells David how to use the camera, saying they only have a few minutes before the tide settles for another 6 months. After a final confirmation, Jacob leaps into the harbor and enters the speeding waters. The friends laugh as the currents pull Jacob around, who starts neighing as he's pulled toward the vortex's core.
Wild horses, man!
David switches positions to try another angle, but when Jacob smiles up at him, David's tone changes.
Yeah, it's good, it's all good.
Good.
Yeah, it's a very powerful one tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, earlier on it was scary. It was really scary.
It still is.
The whirlpool has grown larger, and they have the footage they need. The danger of the situation has suddenly dawned on him. Jacob continues to explain how the water's safe now, something David sounds reluctant to believe.
It's fine now because it's so deep you can kind of control it. When I first got in, I was a bit scared, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's safe as now. Let's go.
In silence, David watches Jacob enter the whirlpool again, spinning in the currents at high speed. Shortly after, he exits the water stream and casually explains how to swim in it safely.
It's a lot like surfing, actually.
I reckon you got enough there.
Riding the current of it with your body.
Are you?
Yeah, it's really similar to surfing, just flowing with it.
The water's churning quickly now, and the vortex is at least double its original size. But Jacob's too busy enjoying the thrill to realize the impending danger. He enters it again and is violently flung across its center.
You got enough?
I should really make the most of it. I don't know what else to do.
But he continues spinning in the water stream. This time, the water sounds as if it's pulling down much harder, and Jacob feels the shifting currents. Realizing this is the last opportunity, he asks David to pass him his GoPro stick so he can record the final underwater shot. As the sun creeps lower in the sky, David watches Jacob dive below the surface. A minute passes by, no sign of Jacob. Several minutes later, David knows something's wrong. He sprints to the tunnel's outlet, thinking Jacob swam through to the other side. But all he finds is gushing water. In a panic, he asks a fisherman if someone had come out of the bay, but the fisherman hadn't seen anyone. David runs back and forth from quayside to the tunnel outlet until he sees a figure at the tunnel's exit. About 15 minutes after disappearing into the vortex, David spots his longtime friend floating face down in the storage pool. Jacob had drowned, sucked down into the waters he grew up playing in. In a tragic twist, Jacob had died trying to live without regrets due to the life his sister had cut short. And the timing of his death meant the siblings who had a spiritual bond in life would depart the world together too. So many people attended Jacob's funeral that they couldn't fit inside the church. He was transported in a colorful coffin wearing his favorite swim shorts, and his ashes were scattered with graces. His surfboard stands proudly by a main road in his mother's front garden, and surfers still honk their horns as a sign of respect when they drive past. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing. It's helping a lot.